A pilot dead after a plane crash during a practice run at the New York Air Show. Time Warner Cable News reporter Jackson Wang standing by for us at Stewart International with the latest. Hi, Jackson.
Well, hi, Solomon. The NTSB is still on scene right here behind me investigating this afternoon's crash. Now, I was on the runway with other members of the media when the accident occurred just after 2 this afternoon, and all of us are just stunned by what we witnessed.
It all happened so fast, I didn't realize even that happened. But then once I pulled the camera away, I saw all this debris coming down on the airfield.
Jim West has taken photos at dozens of air shows, but this one picture will always stick with him.
And then I watched the plane loop over and crash.
This is the moment the tail wing of an aerobatic airplane broke off mid-flight. Moments earlier, that same plane was doing stunts and flying smoothly.
As soon as it went up, parts fell off. It dived straight down, and soon after that, no loud sounds, just...
It was pretty upsetting to see that, actually, because we thought it was part of the show as well. It looked like confetti coming out of the plane.
State police say the single pilot on board died from the crash. No one on the ground was hurt. Officials say the plane was inspected by the FAA before taking practice.
There were several aircraft that were going through a practice cycle, and he was up there doing his practice run.
Police say it appears the plane experienced structural failure, causing the crash. All flying activities for the day were canceled, but officials say this weekend's air show will go on as planned.
We followed all the FAA protocols for safety. They approve everything that has to do with air shows.
It's just really sad to see this, the day before the air show weekend, and none of us were expecting to see this.
As the NTSB continues to investigate this crash, the pilot and his family will certainly be in the thoughts and prayers of those taking part in this weekend's show. Now, state police is withholding the pilot's name until the family is notified. As for the air show, everything that is scheduled will go on accordingly. Sal, back to you.
Okay, that's our Jackson Wang for us on the scene there in New Windsor. Jackson, thanks for that update.
No 2 days are alike for a police officer. For Thomas Kalin, that was evident on Friday.
As a police officer, that's what makes the job so good. Okay, and where did you locate it?
Kalin had just finished lunch when he got a call for a dog rescue in the Huckleberry Ridge State Forest. That dog was Ernie, a Jack Russell Terrier who left Carrie Claire's side to chase after a porcupine.
I remembered I had just put this GPS collar on brand new 3 days ago. And so I called up the app on my phone, and it said that we were about 50 feet from him. So I walked to that location, and I didn't see him.
That's because Ernie had fallen down about a dozen feet into this cave.
It really seemed hopeless, completely hopeless. And I called 911, and right away they said they'd send someone out. But the hard part was trying to describe where I was.
Where are you at? I'll send the officer to your house.
Luckily, Kalin knew the area.
It took us about 25 minutes to a half hour to walk into where the dog was actually located.
Once Kalin reached the site, he immediately started digging a hole to get a sight of Ernie. He eventually called in multiple fire departments to supply shovels and ropes. No one was leaving without Ernie.
I came up with this scenario that I believed the dog chased a porcupine into there, so if I could get the porcupine free and that could find its way out, the dog would follow the porcupine.
Rescuers then put that strategy into action, digging another hole a few feet down from the one that trapped Ernie. A few minutes later, out came the porcupine, and Ernie soon followed, ending the 4-hour ordeal.
Someone scooped him up and put him in my arms, and I just couldn't stop kissing the cops. I was just so, and the fire department that was there, I was just hugging and kissing all of them.
With everybody being on the same page and wanting the right outcome, worked out for the best for everybody.
Ernie was immediately taken to an animal clinic to get treated for his injuries. Doctors removed about 60 quills from his face, mouth, and body. On Saturday, Ernie was back home recovering.
He's an adventurer, but that was quite a bit more of an adventure than I was prepared for, and I think he was too.
Claire says because of the police officers and firefighters, Ernie is alive and well.
And they didn't give up. They were going to help. Just really grateful to them.
In Deer Park, Jackson Wang, Time Warner Cable News. As Officer Jeffrey Perez gets ready to patrol the streets of Newburgh, he knows there will be multiple eyes watching his every move.
Everyone has their cell phone out. It's just a tool that they use sometimes to get the officer a little aggravated, agitated, and heightened.
But now Newburgh police are also recording every stop, every encounter, and every arrest. After months of testing, the department went live with 20 body cameras on Monday. All officers assigned to the patrol division are required to wear them.
Everybody else has a camera. Everything the police do are on camera. So now we're equipped with a camera and we have that ability to have the entire story videotaped.
The cameras cost the department $19,000. Here's how they work. A magnetic strip holds the device in place. When officers respond to a call, they press the front button to activate it.
We kind of want to get the recording going before we respond to the call so that we can actually get every bit of the footage from the beginning to the end.
Once they finish the call, officers press the same button to turn it off. This is some of the video the body cameras captured this week. Chief Cameron says so far, officers are recording on average 85 videos per day.
When the officer comes back in on their shift, they plug it into the docking unit and it automatically begins to download.
Chief Cameron says having these body cameras will ensure that all calls officers respond to, including traffic stops, will be recorded.
It's not going to solve every problem. It's just an added tool for the police department.
As Officer Perez continues to patrol these streets, he's confident the cameras will improve relationships between the police and the community.
I think it's a great tool, and I think the public will be satisfied when they actually go back and see some of the reviewed camera interaction with the public.
Well, you can help me, right? You're part of the community.
In Newburgh, Jackson Wang, Time Warner Cable News. They say good things come to those who wait. For these students, 12 years of schooling was long enough, which is why graduation is so special.
I'm so excited to be here, you know.
Class of 2015.
Took 12 years, we're here now.
But their wait is nothing compared to this grad's patience.
I'm 89 years old and I'm still plugging along.
In 1944, Edward Palmer left high school before he could graduate to join the Army. He fought on the European front in World War II, where he earned a Purple Heart.
I got shot 6 times. I was in the hospital a whole year before I got out.
But after all these years, Palmer was still missing one thing, a high school diploma. So earlier this year, a friend reached out to Liberty High School on behalf of Palmer, helping him receive a diploma through Operation Recognition.
It was very easy to just take the paperwork that he received from the military, and I said, you are going to be coming to graduation.
It was very much of a big surprise for me when they told me that I was going to get a diploma.
On Saturday morning, the long-awaited moment finally became a reality as Palmer walked across the stage and received his diploma.
I do my best. I do my best.
To think that so many years passed and we at Liberty were able to make this happen, it's his dream come true.
With a diploma now in hand, many of these students will now be heading off to college, but others will be joining the military like Mr. Palmer.
I'm going in the Air Force for 6 years first, I signed for. Just seeing that he can do all that and still graduate at the end is very, very inspirational.
I think the touching part was after all the graduates left, the people that came to share their gratitude and to also congratulate him. I think that, more than anything, speaks volumes.
As for what's next for Palmer, well, he plans on putting that diploma to work.
I think I'm going to go look for a job.
For a man that has accomplished so much, you just never know. In Liberty, Jackson Wang, Time Warner Cable News.
Here you go, buddy.
On a Sunday morning at the town of Wallkill Little League Park, baseball players hitting, fielding,
it's so sweet,
and most importantly, having fun.
They love to play baseball. It's just great.
But this isn't just any league.
You get to share a personal connection with them. I like it.
This is the Miracle League, providing baseball for children with disabilities.
50 home runs, the whole season.
The league is run by beautiful people, Orange County's adopted sports organization.
I think this is a great thing, especially for our kids.
Now in its 8th season,
it's nothing like seeing these kids, participate and just have a great time.
The league is hoping to add more players to their organization.
It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to see more and more kids out having the chance to play team sports.
Last month, they broke ground for 3 new fields in Warwick. One of them will be a safe surface field.
That would enable us the confidence to do an outreach for children and young adults that are in wheelchairs or using walkers.
The new safe surface field will be called Daniel Frado Memorial Field. Frado was a former announcer for the league who passed away in 2012.
It helps us keep the journey, his mission, his feelings going, and we're just really proud and happy to be involved.
All of the new fields are expected to be ready for the 2016 season.
It will just be great that they would have the surface available just to wheel right along and play just like everyone else.
In the town of Wallkill, Jackson Wang, Time Warner Cable News.
We must come together as a community, stand up against violence, and end this vicious cycle of crime.
It's been a violent summer in the city of Poughkeepsie. Over the last month, there have been several shootings, including 2 homicides. Now officials are authorizing new security efforts to stop this trend.
The men and women of our department are out there fighting each and every day to keep them safe, and they're going to see a greater variety of police presence from multi-levels of different agencies coming into the city.
One new effort, additional overtime for police patrol, that would help put more officers on the streets.
A bit of the time that they're out there, they're going to be on foot in the various areas where we know are hot spots or have had complaints.
Officials are also looking to implement a civilian patrol program, hoping for additional eyes and ears on the streets. In addition to those measures, the city will also be working with Dutchess County to see what resources can be made available to help stop the violence.
We do have joint operations, county and city operations, that are out there targeting gun crime, and we want to bolster those efforts.
The police department is also hoping to receive funding this fall, which will allow them to hire several new officers.
Nobody wants to read about a shooting or a homicide happening in their neighborhood, but we're going to counter that with the extra patrols, as a kind of a band-aid to violence that can erupt. But at the same time, we need to have a long-term strategy as well.
A strategy aimed to make the streets safer and give residents a peace of mind. So far, there have been no arrests in these shootings and homicides. Anyone with information is asked to call city police. In Poughkeepsie, Jackson Wang, Time Warner Cable News.
It's in every neighborhood. It affects every socioeconomic level of society.
Over the last decade, heroin use has increased by 63% in the U.S. That's according to a recent report by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And the problem is also affecting many areas here in the Hudson Valley.
We have seen an increase in heroin arrests, people involved with heroin, the sale of heroin, and we've also seen overdose increases as well.
Between 2012 and 2013, Sullivan County DA James Farrell says heroin overdoses nearly doubled. The CDC reports heroin deaths nearly quadrupled nationwide between 2002 and 2013. Farrell says heroin is cheap and very addictive.
I think that has fueled this epidemic, not only in Sullivan County, but nationwide.
But despite the statistics, officials say they are increasing their efforts to stop the epidemic.
We're trying to hit the problem at all levels.
Back in May, the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office shut down a major heroin ring that spread from New York City to Albany. In the bust, the Sheriff's Office brought in $5 million worth of heroin.
We're always trying to track the problem to its source. That's the easiest way.
Earlier this year, the Sheriff's Office also trained and certified all deputies to use Narcan.
So if they run across a person who's overdosed, they can treat them.
Officials say it's also important to educate individuals of all ages about the dangers of heroin. And for those that do get hooked, Farrell says it's important for those folks to get the proper treatment.
We don't treat cancer with a Band-Aid. We shouldn't treat a serious opiate addiction with a 28-day program. We just shouldn't.
In Sullivan County, Jackson Wang, Time Warner Cable News.